Shavua Tov, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief, where you join me every Monday to Thursday for your headlines making top stories here in Israel. We are on day 80 of Israel's war with Hamas. And as always, we are brought to you by Lay of the Land. Now, before we take a look at the headlines, I want to wish our many Christian friends, family, supporters, viewers, readers, a very, very merry and blessed Christmas from our Lay of the Land family to you and yours. We hope that you are having a wonderful, wonderful and very special day. So let's take a look at those top stories. As I have just mentioned, we are on day 80 of Israel's war with Hamas. It is known as Operation Swords of Iron, although rumor has it the government may change its operational name. Seriously, guys, nearly 3 months into this war, you want to change the name, but okay, you do you. So let's take a look at the top story. And of course, our top story today is that it is Christmas, or Chag HaMolad, as it is called in Hebrew. And it is a much more subdued Christmas than we have seen in recent years, of course, with events taking place in the Gaza Strip and down in the south. However, yesterday the Jerusalem municipality were out and about giving out free Christmas trees, as is the tradition every year, and you can certainly see in cities like Haifa and Jerusalem, Jaffa and other places across the country, beautiful Christmas trees, Christmas lights, a real festive spirit, even though it is significantly more subdued. In Bethlehem, where Jesus was born, it is a very, very quiet Christmas. A lot of churches that still remain there. And we do know that under the Palestinian Authority, we have seen a massive decline in the amount of Christians living in Bethlehem. A lot of the churches are not holding big celebrations, having very, very quiet services. And His Holiness the Pope has just addressed audiences for Christmas, where he called for a ceasefire and an increase in humanitarian aid. But he also called for the immediate release of the hostages and says that his heart grieves for the victims of the 7/10 atrocity. I think many around the world are holding both Israelis and Palestinians in their thoughts and prayers this Christmas. And I also want to reiterate, you don't have to be anti-Palestinian to be pro-Israel or anti-Israel to be pro-Palestinian. I think we all want a better life for all of the citizens of this region. What we don't want is to be hijacked by terror entities like Hamas and have them create a terror enclave on our border. It has been a very, very intense weekend inside the Gaza Strip as the Israel Defense Forces continue to move through the south of the Strip. The IDF spokesperson, Admiral Daniel Hagari, has said that the north of the Gaza Strip is under IDF control. But as the forces move more and further into the Strip, uncover more and more tunnels, so we are being more and more exposed to what they are finding. A short while ago, the IDF announced that they had blown up a tunnel that was also used for weapons manufacturing, as well as a concrete factory used for the manufacturing of tunnels. Now, what many people don't really realize is that Hamas have used child labor to build those tunnels or to dig those tunnels, and that, of course, is the ultimate in child abuse. Many of those children have lost their lives in the event of burrowing for these tunnels. These tunnels have also been built with the billions in taxpayer money that you in your respective countries around the world pay to your government, who good-naturedly give the donations as aid to try and create a better life for Palestinians. So I think this only stops when we as citizens, as tax-paying citizens, demand of our governments and of the United Nations to stop funding the building of tunnels. Troops also exposed how they have found weapons in a school, including suicide vests for children. Now, one of the big issues that we have, and perhaps one of the most difficult forms of warfare, is urban warfare. In many accounts, our troops have to go house to house and almost fight in hand-to-hand combat. And very, very often these homes are booby-trapped, the tunnels are booby-trapped, and they are faced with civilians, often women and children, who are strapped wearing suicide vests. It's a tremendously difficult form of warfare, and I don't think any other country has had to endure this kind of warfare. And if anybody has a solution how we do this better and try to incur as few civilian casualties as possible, which is one of our priorities, I think that we are open to all kinds of suggestions. Meanwhile, it has also been a very, very difficult weekend for the IDF. 16 soldiers over the course of the last 3 days have fallen in defense of the State of Israel. Our thoughts and our prayers are with them all. For Israelis, every soldier, whether we know them or not, is our son. The Israeli Defense Forces is an army made up of its citizens. So when reservists are called up, they are not career soldiers that are doing their job. They are our husbands, our sons, our brothers, our daughters, our sisters, our fathers that are called to the front, our colleagues, and each one of them and every death we feel extremely personally here. Meanwhile, the IDF have said they continue to strike Hamas targets on the ground using the cover from the Israeli Air Force. Israel's most wanted man, Yehia Sinwar, the mastermind behind the 7th of October attacks, has finally broken his silence. He has addressed his constituents, if we want to call them that, saying that we are facing an unprecedented battle but won't give up, and also claims to have killed 1,000 soldiers. This only goes to show that Yehia Sinwar is an epic liar. 156 soldiers have fallen in battle since the start of the ground incursion, and about 419 since October the 7th. The IDF also exposed one of the tunnels where the bodies of 2 hostages and 3 fallen soldiers who were taken on the 7th of October were found. And finally, because it's Christmas and I really want to leave you all with some positive stories, and of course we are all concerned about the hostages. Not only do we want the remaining hostages to come home immediately, all of them, but we are also following with great interest the progress of our released hostages. Of course, like our soldiers, we see each of them as part of our family. We have heard from Thomas Hand. He is the father of Emily, who was taken hostage, young Emily, who turned 9 in captivity. And he said she is starting to laugh again, starting to dance again, and slowly regaining her appetite. We are all aware of the heartbreaking story when he thought that she was dead, and he said rather she be dead than taken hostage, and then subsequently found out that she had been taken hostage. And when she was released, he spoke about how she was very scared, would only speak in whispers, and would cry herself to sleep at night. We also heard, and this is a story, you might want to get your tissues out, Yafa Adar, one of the older hostages that was taken on the 7th, who was released in that first tranche, received a beautiful letter from Andrea Bocelli. In an interview with Israeli media, Yafa spoke about how to get herself through captivity. She would sing Andrea Bocelli songs, and the great maestro heard about that and sent her a beautiful letter. Oh, I'm going to start crying, where he said to her, he says, "You make me want to sing with more intention." And he said, "Yafa, I invite you to one of my concerts anywhere in the world." He says, "and I'm very happy to sing just for you." I mean, if that doesn't make you love Andrea Bocelli even more than we already do, I don't know what does. And also a special shout out to Beyonce when she heard that she was Emily Hand's favorite of all-time artists. She invited Emily to a concert anywhere in the world as her guest. In Yiddish, we would call these people Mensches. And that brings us to the end of today's edition of the Israel Brief. Please don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our YouTube channel is at the Israel Brief. If you like us, please subscribe, share us with your friends. We are on Facebook. Thank you to all our new community members, and you can find us at Lottel, L-O-T-L-S-I-T-E at Lottel's site, and we're on X at Lay of the Land 5. I want to wish you all a wonderful rest of your day. Merry Christmas to all of you who celebrate Christmas, and remember, guys, take care of yourselves and of each other. See you tomorrow.